Thanks for welcome. I see a lot of familiar faces, some new faces as well. Thank you everyone for being here. Excellent. Okay, well, we are going to go ahead and get started. Let me pause this music. We have our recording going. So yeah, we're just going to hop right into it. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I know everyone on the Common Power team is thrilled to welcome each and every one of you to this team lead information session. For those who I haven't met before, my name is Heba Mohammad, and I recently started with Common Power as the team lead program manager. In short, that means that I get to recruit, train, and support the team leads for our 7 key states, which hopefully includes team leads that are in this room right now. I am both from and currently based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. As we hop into the session here, we'll go to our next slide to review some of our reminders and meeting expectations. So as a reminder, this meeting is recorded and it will be distributed to anyone who has signed up to attend this meeting and future information sessions as well. As we are participating in this meeting and engaging in it, you see that we have our screen share up, and the optimal way to view a screen share is in side-by-side mode. So if you look at your Zoom screen, you'll see a green bar at the top that says view options. If you click on that, you'll see a side-by-side mode option if you're not already in it. I would encourage you to go ahead and click on that again for optimal viewing here. Please, for the duration of this, remain muted unless you're specifically asked to unmute. That's just so that your peers who are in this meeting can hear everything clearly and make sure that they are able to register everything just like you are. The last piece here is that we encourage you to use the chat box. Sorry, got muted there. Use the chat box for questions. We will get to them at the end or in follow-up communications with folks who are here with us. So please go ahead and use the chat function for that. On the next slide, we are going to talk about our agenda and what you can expect from this meeting. So we are starting with our welcome and introductions. From here, we're going to move into who is Common Power. Tonight, we are lucky to have a partner spotlight with our friends from Georgia and Team Georgia, so we'll get a chance to hear from them. We will then move into our state team leadership opportunity and what exactly that is and what you can expect. We will hear from 2 former co-leads of our Team Texas squad who helped us out this spring and their experience with the team model. From there, we'll talk about how this opportunity is a great fit for professionals and folks with full-time lives, and we'll also engage in breakout groups. The breakout groups are going to be fun, I promise. It's going to be an opportunity to meet staff and other folks in this room in a smaller setting and to get to know more about us, about Common Power and one another. Lastly, we'll talk about how to join, and then we'll have time for question and answer. So again, we're just going to keep things rolling and hop right into it. So now I'm really pleased to pass the virtual microphone to Charles Douglas III, who is Common Power's Executive Director. Charles has been with CP for a few years now and is the creative, strategic hand that guides all of the good work that we do. I'll also say that rumor has it, he can sing the entire Moana soundtrack by memory. So don't know if that's true, make of it what you will, but Charles, I'll pass it off to you.
That's good. That's really good. That's really good. It's probably true. That is the one thing it's on repeat at my house because of my 1-year-old loves Moana. Also, I just got to say, there's a bunch of folks who are very familiar with CP, some staff on here. It's probably the most thorough beginning to an event that we've ever had ever in the history of our entire organization. So, I mean, the Zoom tips at the beginning too, and the mute instructions, my goodness gracious. Well done, Heba, well done. Also, I mean, while we're saying thank yous, no, thank you to Anita and Maggie for helping to put this together. We've been talking about this event for months and months, and the rollout of our state teams and state team leads. Way to go. So please suffer that little bit. Charles, Executive Director at Common Power, a few months in, been here since the beginning. And here's the rest of the team. MJ.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Jimenez, and I'm a program manager here at Common Power.
Hi, folks. My name is AJ Musewe. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Director of Interactive History in the Education Department here at Common Power.
Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel Caseberg, and I'm a program manager here at Common Power.
Hey everyone, my name is Wale Akinmusotu. I'm a program manager and I also help with marketing at Common Power.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bert Greenwood. I'm a contractor with Common Power and I handle administrative support.
Hi, I'm Betty Chipman and I'm a marketing coordinator with Common Power.
Hi, y'all. I'm Ben, and I'm program coordinator for CP Future.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kylie. I use she, they pronouns, and I'm CP's partnerships coordinator.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maggie Rittenhouse, and I do strategy and program development at Common Power.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Anita Verna-Crofts, and I contribute to leadership development strategy across a couple different corners at Common Power.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Larcy Douglas, and I am the Director of Common Power Future.
Good evening, everybody. I'm David Domke. I'm Associate Director for Organizational Support at Common Power.
I thought I was just going to keep going through the whole. That's a lot of people. That's amazing. So what is Common Power? Well, it's really, who is Common Power? You just heard. We are majority BIPOC on the young side and majority women on purpose. You're here because you understand a little bit about our work already, and you want to help us out. Our staff does this full time, and we love every minute of it. We care about this country. We read the news, we watch the news just like you every single day. And the reason why we're here is because we wanted to do more. That's it. We wanted to do more than we were doing at the time. And you all are here because you want to do more. So how do we do that? Well, we mobilize volunteers like yourself and like hundreds of others. We've been doing that since 2018. And we do that for voters around the country. We're based in Seattle, but we realized that much of national politics is kind of fought for in states outside of Washington state. Other states like Texas, Georgia, Arizona, Wisconsin. Those are the voters that we help around this country to have what should be the most common power that we all share, which is the power of the vote. That's what we do. Now, how do we do it? These 3 M's are kind of how we do that on this next slide. The CP way: mindset, mojo, and mobilize. We believe that this democracy should be just and inclusive. It is not yet, but we believe that it can be. And the only way that we can get there is by taking action. What kind of action? Well, it's volunteer action. It's calling and texting, knocking on doors. In 2018, we started as an organization that flew volunteers around the country, hundreds of volunteers, 400 in 2018 midterms, to 12 different states to go knock on doors alongside partner organizations in this country. We're going to do it again next year, and that's what we're gearing up for. What did we do last year? Well, we couldn't knock on doors. It was phone calling and texting, but it was action. It was action. Mojo, we do this work together in community and in teams. Community, small C community, is something that we'll talk more about, exactly how we manifest that. I don't think it's something you can just say, you have to earn it, and I think we've earned it. Teams, though, are how we fly out and do work in these states. The teamwork, the leads that we need people for. they lead these teams, small communities of people that focus on a specific state and work with partner organizations, one of which we'll hear from here in a little bit. When we do that work, we prioritize next generation leaders. So again, we do that at the staff level, we do it at the volunteer level. And what you'll hear soon is there's a system to these state teams that we're launching now that does this more intentionally. We did a lot of this before by accident, and we're doing it on purpose now. So you hear more about that. Finally, there's Mobilize, register and catalyzing voters. We register voters and we get them to vote. That's the thing that we do, along with many prominent organizations that you've probably heard of in the news. And we're going to have to do it again and again and again. But coming from a blue state, one of the things you realize is that we cannot define the way that happens. We can't define where it happens. We can't define the strategy around it. We've got to trust our local partners. And that's where Essence comes in here in just a second. Let's go to the next one though. Essence, I'm going to keep saying your name, okay? As we just like ramp up to you, and they're going to go like, whoa, who's this Essence person? And then bow, reveal. All right, so just get ready. Now, last year, when it was all remote, and we realized that we could only engage via phone and text, we also realized that we could touch more states. There's one thing about that we're learning right now as we're opening back up is having these in-person meetings with people takes travel time, a lot of logistics, and you can't do as many. But last year we could do a ton of states. We showed up all around this country, 20 primary states. And we also got into some other smaller states and played in some races where we were just kind of testing out to see if we could help some blue islands within red states, wherever we were needed. We had almost 800 volunteers do that work with us. And that was everything from Twitter advocacy to texting folks and sending out postcards. This next year is going to be a little bit less than that, but just as important, as you see from the news recently. We're going to have to show up in key states, one of them being Georgia. Essence, that's you again, obviously. One of them being Georgia that passed these dubious laws that are making it more and more difficult to vote. Voters are going to need more help than ever. So how do we pick these states? We've got 7 key states that we're going to focus on every single year. 20 some states is too many. We realize that. 12 is a lot too. We also realize that we can't just jump in and out of states. We've got to maintain relationships with these partner organizations, and they need us not just when national attention is on them. They need us when they feel like they need us. They need us when local municipal elections happen. They need us when they need voters to be registered. They needed us last year to call voters and talk about COVID regulations as, almost nothing to do with voting. But we were doing that because it's about the relationships. How many states can we sustain relationships in? Well, 7. How do we choose them? This is how we choose them. We use our Mindset, Mojo, and Mobilize as guides. And we extrapolate off that as we fight for a democracy that should be just and inclusive. We understand that we want to focus on states that have been directly targeted by extreme voter suppression laws and Black and brown communities. That has been a target: Georgia, Texas, Arizona. You've seen these on the news. How else? In following the lead of our partner organizations, like the Dems in Georgia, we prioritize the states where local grassroots groups have already built trust and a strong momentum with voters. It's really important that organizations nationally don't just land in states. We don't do that. We work through partners. And it's important that there are local grassroots efforts that are already strong enough to support us if we're sending 70 people into a state. So we want to support, we don't want to be a problem. Also, a state has got to have a certain readiness for our volunteers. Lastly, because we do this work in community, we've chosen states where the civil rights history and authentic partner org connection are conducive to fostering our work that works across generation and across race. As we look to build the country that should be more just and inclusive, we want to exemplify it. And you all will be doing that as a part of our state team leads. 5 of you will enter into each of these states, and you'll each be cut across different generations and different races on purpose. And we'll train so that folks are ready for that integration. These are our 7 states that we've chosen. Every single year, we're going to go into these. And each of you are going to divide up and lead these states under Heba and a few others. All right, let's go next. Oh, is that it? Did I cover everything? Am I good? I had a laundry list of things. I don't know if I got them all.
You did great, Charles. And now
Thank you.
time for the big reveal of Essence.
Now it's time for the big. Thank you. We have worked with Essence. Initially, I want to say that we were Essence is doing us a favor. We were some nobody organization out of Seattle calling in asking for help. And Essence, you can tell the story your way. I'm gonna tell it this way. And Essence gave us the time of day, and we realized that was our chance to show her what we could do for her county. And I think we showed out. I think we showed up when we showed out. Tens of thousands of postcards, some phone banking. We did a bunch in 2020. We did a bunch this year for you. I like to talk, I do, but I like to match that with action. And if we're not acting, if we're not coming with some real work, then we're not about nothing. And hopefully Essence is here because we're about something. Right, Essence?
Correct.
Okay. Essence leads the Cobb County Dems, is also probably a local celebrity. I don't know because I'm not in Georgia often enough, but I plan on getting down there more often. I will throw your name around when I visit next, though, so I can see if I can get in good with some of the locals. But I appreciate you giving us some of your time so you could talk about what it's been like to work with CP.
Sure. Well, one, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. Common Power is a group that came in through a relationship that I have with Gloria Dunbar. And she said there's an organization that wants to help, and we were knee deep in 2020. We are, of course, in a state that has is backwards as hell. You know, we still feel sometimes, I'm not originally from Georgia, I'm from the DC area, and coming into an environment like Georgia, you still feel like that you're looking for the Black bathroom and a white bathroom. The way that sometimes the process of Georgia when it comes to an election. And 2020, we were trying to flip Cobb County. Cobb County has always been a red county, even though we have a large percentage of Dem voters down in the south of Cobb County. And we were trying to turn it all the way blue. And Gloria said there's an organization that is trying to help and penetrate in Georgia. Can you talk with them? And I'm like, we will talk with anybody that wants to help, because there was so much on the presidential level, so much spotlights, and that's the way it goes. And you know, I try to make sure people understand that local elections are the ones that drive it up. I mean, you've got to protect local. Because those are, you know, where things really make a difference when it comes to laws and taxes, et cetera, school board. And y'all came in and y'all did it. I mean, from me just saying, hey, this is what we're trying to do. Can you do this? You know, started your own phone banking, got your own postcards, there was nothing that, one, I didn't have to do any micromanaging, which was awesome. I was just like, can you do this? Can you do that? Maggie was like, yes. Nancy would call me, Shelly would call me, and they would just take it away. And the only thing they asked for is, can we get a link? Can we get a script? Can we get, you know, if we have questions, can we put it there and ask, can we leave a voice message? And I'm like, y'all do whatever y'all want to do. Because my whole thing was, as far as the Cobb Democratic Committee was, to get voters out to vote, to make sure they drop off their ballots in time, to know where their ballot locations are. If there are any changes, which they do it all the time, last minute, for precinct shutdowns or hours change, we wanted to make sure that we got it in time so that people could vote. And because of that, all the work, the texting, the postcards, the phone banking, on election day, we didn't see that many people at the polls, which was worrisome for me. because usually we have a 2 to 4 hour wait, which is crazy, where, you know, we're passing out water. There was food trucks, there was bands on the back of pickup trucks. There was organizations coming down just to make sure that people could go to the bathroom, and, you know, people were watching for provisional ballots, and et cetera, et cetera. So when there was nobody there, I was concerned because, again, we didn't have the ballot numbers. So in 2020, with all of the work and the partnership of Common Power, we flipped Cobb Blue. We have the chair of the commission is a Black female. We have 2 other African-American commissioners. We have a Black sheriff. We have a Black DA. We have, and also those in the judicial area as well, which is unprecedented. We've never had that. And that's because of partnerships. We cannot do things alone. It's to fight, when you're fighting democracy, you fight it as a whole. It doesn't matter what state you're in. And if you're in a blue state and you have that cushion of really saying that you're a blue state, then we need help in those states to make blue, because there's so many Democratic voters in Georgia. But why are we still having to jump through hoops like SB 202? You know, why are, you know, like, for example, this year, we're holding our breath because we know gerrymandering is going to happen. A lot of things is going to be predicated amongst what the lines are drawn, who's running. Lucy McBath's seat, Carolyn Bordeaux's seat might be drawn out. We do not know. We will not know until probably December or January. Qualifying is March. So we've got to get the word out of precinct changes, precinct closings, you know, the new rules and regulations. We're working on that. We just had a special election. Unfortunately, she did lose. However, those elections matter because we make a footprint into the community. Common Power was like, I said, Maggie, we need help. And she was like, okay, give me some time, I'll put it together. And I can say on every single phone bank that we've had for the last 2.5 months since we knew about the special election, Common Power has had at least 6 to 8 people on those phone banks. We can't do it without you guys. Just like I know, I also called Maggie because Paige Dixon ran in Texas. And I said, hey, can you guys help her? I mean, she needs help. She's in one of those districts that is just, it's not for us. It's not for people that look like me. And, you know, y'all came in at that last hour. And even though she did not win, it still made a difference. It still made Texas know that we're here. So I can't speak enough about Common Power and the partnership and the way that you guys operate. I am OCD when it comes to operations. That's what I do for a living. And knowing that I don't have to call and say, did you guys do this? Did you guys do that? Can you guys be on it? For me and my team, that was a true relief. Knowing that the work was getting done. So the benefit of working with Common Power is you guys back up what your mission and your vision is. You guys back up that you're really about getting into brown communities. The area that we focused in 2020 was, you know, brown folks, getting brown folks out. And you guys did that. And I think it's so critical with the day and age that we are going into, especially in 2022, we got to come back out. I mean, Georgia is back on the map, not only for the negative side of SB 202, but we have to go back out and get Senator Warnock elected. We have to go back out and get Stacey elected. We've got to go back out and get the whole legislation, Congress. I mean, we got to go back out there, and then we have SB 202. So the work never stops.
That's right. That's right.
Look,
otherwise we would have shut down after 2020. But you're right, the work never stops, and we're not leaving. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you having us. I heard somebody in the chat say that call Maggie needs to be on a T-shirt. Maybe you can hand out her number to other states. But we appreciate you, Essence. We are helping when you call, but you're there doing the work on the ground in one of the toughest fights this country's ever seen. We appreciate you and all the people who work with you. And thanks for coming by.
Thank you. And guys, if you are looking at Common Power as an organization, Common Power is a place where anyone, when you're looking to get involved, you have a special place where you can really grow and learn from an organization, because there's many organizations out there that are trying to be political firms and all this other stuff. It's not about the fluff. It's about the grind. And when you have organizers, the best CEO or the best director is the one that will take their title off and get into the weeds to get the job done. And if you're ever standing by a CEO that's too proud or has the inability to get into the ground, whether they take out the trash, place a phone call, do a text message, and get onto the whatever level they need to get on to get the work done, that's not the type of organization you want to be about.
Amen.
You want to be about an organization that is going to, not title hungry, but just trying to get the work done. And Common Power is that place.
Thank you. It's not about the fluff, it's about the grind. Somebody write that down. That's the next t-shirt right there.
Yes. Woo. All gas, no brakes, 2022. That's my motto.
Yeah.
All gas, no brakes, 2022.
100.
And if you are coming to Atlanta, you got to let me know. One way is I am putting on one of the biggest galas of 2022. We are shooting for the stars to have Biden and Nancy and trying to get people there, because we have to have a fundraiser to get this done. Stacy is going there. So I will send you the details to come.
Yes.
And show and meet people and meet the people that, you touched in 2020 and, 2021.
We love it.
Priscilla.
Yes. We love it. We love it.
We'll be there.
Awesome. I'm going to jump off because it's my last day in Miami.
Oh, enjoy.
You guys have a wonderful rest of your presentation. And if you have any questions, feel free to, reach out to me. Okay.
Thank you, Essence. Wow. We are so pleased that you were here tonight. So honored to have you in our presence. Also, I feel like we can just wrap up this meeting now. A pitch has been made. We can all just go home. No, but truly, thank you, Essence, for that.
Good night.
Good night. Great. We're going to hop onto the next slide here and keep our program moving. I think if it wasn't clear from what Essence was saying, the work that we do is so important, and it's only possible because we have strong team leads in each of our key states who are able to help organize our volunteers to make the difference in these states. So I'm going to go through pretty quickly here some of the key details of our leadership model and what roles are available to you. If you are interested in applying, and I hope that every person in this room is. So the first thing you need to know about our current team leader model is that it was developed and refined using volunteer input. After 2020, Common Power invested in a deep information gathering structure with the team leads who supported us in 2020 so that we could learn how to better support them. Out of those conversations emerged a refined structure, one that is intergenerational, interracial, and has complementary, well-defined roles. In these roles, they are generally requiring 2 to 5 hours per week. I do want to say that some weeks it will be slower or perhaps paused entirely, like over the holidays, and other weeks will require more time of you, particularly when we travel to our key states to do in-person work with our partners like Essence in Cobb County. As you're considering this opportunity, I also want you to know that no expertise is required of you because our training is built in to the leadership structure. We will teach you what you need to know on the front end, and we'll offer supplemental trainings throughout your tenure as a team lead. What is required, though, is a desire to make our democracy more just and inclusive, and an appetite for doing really important collaborative work with your fellow team leads, our state partners, and the volunteers that you'll be managing. A couple other details here. We have stipends available, $2,000 for a full year of completed work. And when we do travel to our key states, as I mentioned, for team leads, those expenses will be covered. So there's a lot of elements here to consider and to keep in mind. As we move on to the next slide, we're going to get into what the positions themselves are. So there are 5 people per team in 4 roles. The first one here is our state partner and research lead. This role acts as the primary contact to the state organizational partners and is responsible for researching and sharing information about the state, the races, and the initiatives that the volunteers are supporting within that state. This role is great for someone who likes building relationships and doing deep dives on research, in this case, on the state and on the races that we're engaged in. The next position is the volunteer organizer position. Here you'll notice that there are 2 people slotted in this position because this role is primarily volunteer engagement, and we didn't want that huge responsibility to rest on a single person. The 2 people in these positions will work together to onboard, recruit, train, and motivate volunteers to stay engaged with their state team. In addition to serving as the point people for all of the volunteer members when it comes to one-on-one communication, these roles are responsible for community building and training efforts across our virtual and in-person activities. So this role would be great for someone who's comfortable public speaking, managing volunteer relationships, and who likes producing and presenting training materials with our support, of course. The next role is our team communications role, which is responsible for all group communications to the volunteer team. For example, weekly and monthly update announcements. They're also responsible for ensuring the consistent use of our communication platform, commonpower.io, for all of the volunteer team, and for creating materials needed for all of our volunteer events. This could include agendas, slide decks, things like that, to make sure that we are prepared for our general volunteer opportunities. This role is great for people who like writing, who enjoy or are good at keeping track of documents and organizing information, and who are comfortable with email, Zoom, Excel, tools like that. Last up here is our travel coordinator. So as long as safe travel is possible, Common Power will once again go to our partner states for in-person volunteer opportunities. The travel coordinator will be responsible for recruiting a sub-team of volunteers to help plan all aspects of team travel. This includes flights, hotels, meals, rental cars, etc. Given that our travel will only happen at particular times, this role is going to be a flex role that can also support the team communications or research lead on the team as well. So I know that was really quick. We will have more information available for you after tonight's meeting. We'll send a follow-up email with more details. And if you have questions about this, again, please put them in the chat and we will get to them at the end. But I'm really excited. I do want to turn it over to 2 folks who are here to talk about this team model in action. We are really fortunate to have Katie and Julia with us tonight to share their experiences this past spring as team leads for Team Texas. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Julia to get us started.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Julia G. I was a Team Texas State lead this past few months. So I was a volunteer organizer along with Nancy, and I was also the Team Texas lead of leads. So I was wearing 2 different hats, and I'll pass it on to Katie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Katie Cordingley. I am based in Montana and came to Common Power as a state lead for Montana in the fall, and then stayed on and was a team lead for Georgia in the special election, and then joined Team Texas in the spring. And I was the state partner lead and a state partner and research lead with Ben, who's on this call, and looking forward to talking with you about the structure and how it worked for us and what we learned.
So one really amazing thing about this new team lead model is that it's intergenerational and it's interracial. So you see, along with that pairing, a lot more creativity and different kinds of collaboration and better outcomes overall. So one really amazing thing that I got out of my experience being a Team Texas Special Elections lead was that I was able to work with and learn with adult professionals that I don't usually get to. I recently graduated, but as a student while you're in university, you don't really get that kind of exposure to older working professionals. So I was really fortunate to learn from people like Caitlin and Nancy and Tegan, who are more experienced and are familiar with the professional world as well.
I guess I fall into the older working person category in this team structure, and it's really an honor to be in a position in my professional life where I am mentored and serve as a mentor. And I think no one is too old or too young to be in that in-betweeny space. But on the Team Texas team, that was a really great opportunity for me. I work full-time as the Assistant Dean of the Honors College here at the University of Montana, and I am also pursuing my PhD. So this was something that I did in addition to a pretty full plate, but it is such fulfilling and meaningful work that some days it was the one more Zoom call that I needed to be on, but it never felt like it was the thing I didn't want to do. It feels important. And I think right now, we all want to know what we can do to help. And this is something that you can do to help. So not saying it in a purely a selfish way, but there is a personal fulfillment in addition to the actual concrete contributions and community that you're building while you're a part of Common Power.
So working in the Team Texas special election in this new team model, there was a lot of shared planning and execution that went along with this, where we were working both with Common Power and our local partners within the state. So we were working on the Paige Dixon campaign and also the Deborah Peoples campaign. We were supporting them through phone banks and text banks. And, you know, through this, I personally was able to learn a lot of amazing leadership skills. I was learning how to lead a team of volunteers. I was learning how to support a really high functioning team. And learning how to build community within a very short sprint election.
As I mentioned, I came to Common Power working for my home state. And so I know a bit about the state of Montana and the political dynamics, but I knew very little about Texas, and especially not Fort Worth. And then prior to Fort Worth, we were working on a congressional special election. So we were able to really dive in and learn a lot about the demographics, the voting history, who are the people on the ground, what are the top priorities of these communities. And as our team can attest, I love maps. And so there are a lot of really inspirational maps that you can look at that show the progress that we're making, or show the actual physical areas in which we can help move the dial. And even after the people's race did not go the way that we had hoped, we saw both the places where voter turnout was pretty low. We saw the places where Deborah Peoples came in really strong, and we saw that we made a difference, even if that difference wasn't a W. So I think that's an important piece of this, because you get to learn about a place, you get to learn alongside your teammates, you get to meet fantastic volunteers who are coming to this work with rich backgrounds of their own, and you come away having accomplished all three of those things, even if the election doesn't go the way that you were hoping. So I think that it's a win-win proposition, regardless of election outcomes.
Yeah, absolutely. Katie, you made a lot of great points. Even if some elections, you take some wins, you take some losses, I think that my time with Team Texas is definitely one of my most meaningful times with Common Power. I loved interacting with volunteers. I loved working with my team. It was overall just a great growth and learning experience for all of us. And another great part about the new team structure is that Common Power is super involved in helping us whenever we needed help. And then also they were there to listen to us. They really care about our feedback. They really care about how we felt about the team structure. So it's definitely overall just a great experience. So the first step in Common Power, making sure that the state teams is a great fit for you, is that they give you an application where you are able to outline your skills and interests so they can best fit you to a certain role. And then the second step is that Common Power is consistently touching base with you regularly during the election cycle, asking like, how are things going? How are you feeling? How can we help? It's really just a positive space to be in. And I'm gonna let Katie cover the last two steps of how Common Power is involved throughout the whole process.
I'm muted. I'm seeing in the chat, Jessica chiming in. Jessica was one of our #1 phone bankers. It was so fun to watch her thrive in that environment. So we, as Julia mentioned, we're very well supported by the Common Power team. Specifically for Texas, Anita and Maggie could not have done it without you, but also Nancy and Ben and Julia and Tegan and I were the team of 5. So we had opportunities to check in with each other. We had opportunities to check in with Common Power. And since we were test driving a new 5-person model, we had a really wonderful opportunity to do exit interviews with Maggie and with Anita to talk about our experiences. So this is a really iterative process that is being designed to best support Common Power and our state partners. And we have the opportunity to continue to improve upon this model with future team leads, building on the baseline that Team Texas established. So with that, I hope that you will all consider being team leads. It was a really rewarding experience all 3 times, and that's all been since, last year. So I hope that you will ask any questions that you have. I will not be staying on tonight, but I will be able to answer any questions that you have. And Julia, thank you so much for your leadership of our leadership team.
Thank you both so much. Julia and Katie, you are wonderful and honored to hear from you all tonight. Also a lot of love in the chat, and I love. So if you all have props for these 2 fabulous people, please go ahead and continue sharing that in the chat. We've had a lot of great speakers tonight. We're going to continue with the program. I will note that we're running just slightly behind. No one's fault. This has been wonderful. But I am going to try to speed it up a little bit just to make sure that we can get you all out of here within an hour as we promised. So for this next section, we want to have a conversation about why this is a great fit for people who are working professionals and have full-time lives. So joining me will be Charles, Anita, and Channing. We're going to have a great conversation piggybacking off of the comments that Katie and Julia made. So Charles, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. Valid question. I'm passionate about this, but how do I make sure that this fits into my life? I know that Common Power is intentionally a unique advocacy model and really unique in campaign spaces because of the action steps that you all have taken to empower historically excluded communities. One of those communities, though we don't typically name it, is working folks because of our limited availability. So I want to ask you, Charles, in your vision for Common Power's leadership model, what considerations were made for working folks that makes this opportunity the best option for people who want to make a difference while also managing the demands of a full-time life?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is flexibility. You're going to see in the application and ask your time. She spoke about it earlier. And everything's flexible if your heart is here. If you give a shit about the work that you're doing with us and you're ready to commit and ride with us all the way through next year's election, we'll work with you. So flexibility is here. Your 5-person leadership team is going to come in the clutch and help you out if you can show up more or less over the course of that time. And we've got, talented folks on our staff like Heba and others that you've heard speak that can help fill in for you if you got to step away for work or something. Because the most important thing is that you're able to show up when you can. And sometimes that's to do work, and sometimes it's to just be a great example, as you saw between Katie and Julia there.
Thank you, Charles. Really appreciate that. And I think a great answer, and a lot of kudos to the folks who are able to make this work and who support people when they need to step off for a few moments or to get back to something else before they can hop into the work again. So Anita, we're going to turn to you. Anita Werner Crofts was a team leader in 2020. Hello, Anita. So during the cycle, the 2020 cycle, you were and still are one of those working folks with a full-time life that includes being a professor and often traveling between the coasts. Yet you chose to volunteer your time as a team leader on Team Maine during 2020, even with all of the other volunteer opportunities that were out there. So what kept you coming back to this work and to your team in Maine?
Well, Thanks, Heba, so much. And in a word, it was the people, and both the people that I got to work with as co-leads and the people that I got to work with as part of the team main partner organization, not to mention the extraordinary team main volunteers. But tonight I'm just going to speak specifically about my co-lead and the partner org, because those really have just risen in my mind as the gifts that came out of the 2020 election. I co-led Team Main with a journalist named Amina Ibrahim. She's currently an audience engagement fellow at Crosscut in Seattle, which is an institution that some folks on the call may know. And I'm 30 years older than Amina. She's Black, I'm white, but we caught up on the phone last week and just continue to find all kinds of common ground, whether it's our commitment to storytelling for change, or the fact we're both chow hounds and where's the best Thai food in Seattle. And so I really want to echo what Julia and Katie said about the intergenerational and the interracial dynamics of a team and how beneficial that is for all of us that are engaged in that work. We really had to work closely together. There were two of us. It was a very high profile race given the Senate stakes in 2020. And while it didn't go the way we wanted it to, and that echoes another theme that we're in it for the long haul, I couldn't have asked for a better partner. And having said that, though, really support the larger model because there's a lot of work to do. And so Amina and I really became close through that kind of commitment, but I'm excited about this new model that we're rolling out. And then to talk too about the kind of expansion of my community when it came to the organization. We worked with Democracy Maine. We were really committed, Amina and I, coming into Maine to work primarily on the elevation of immigrant communities when it came to voter registration and when it came to getting out the vote. And so we partnered with Democracy Maine, and Democracy Maine has a number of immigrants that are on staff that are working very closely in the community. And so the opportunity to do that kind of door-to-door work, to engage with immigrant communities who are very much a part of the new economic engine in Maine was really satisfying to me. I've worked with, for instance, Sudan in the work that I do at the University of Washington, and here in Maine, where I'm calling you from tonight, I got to work with Sudanese immigrant populations. So it was a wonderful virtuous circle for me in terms of the professional work that I do, and then the opportunity that I had with CP. So that was really meaningful. And I haven't even told my CP colleagues tonight, but I just heard from Democracy Maine on Sunday. They reached out to me that they've become trusted members of my community. And I'm going to be on a call with the White House on Wednesday about voting rights. And Democracy Maine reached out because they adore CP. The Democracy Maine folks are very much of the same nature of what Essence would have shared tonight. And they just know that CP shows up. Our volunteers were consistently the ones on phone banks. I had folks show up door to door, even in times of COVID protocols. So I just need to say that, like so many of our speakers tonight, we have a reputation at CP of attracting people with commitment, with joy for the work, with determination. And that's exactly the kind of people that I want in my network. And so this never feels like giving time to CP. It really feels like the replenishment of what makes the world a better place. So thrilled to be able to share that tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anita. That was beautiful. And your insights are always appreciated. So thank you for that. Our final speaker in this segment about fitting this into your full-time life is Channing Nesbitt. Channing, thank you so much for being here and for having this conversation with us. So Channing, I know that you were an integral co-lead on Team Texas in 2020, and now you're channeling your energies into additional civic engagement efforts. What impact did your time with Common Power have on encouraging your continued action and growth as a leader in the civic engagement space, even as you manage a full-time life schedule?
That's a good question. I think a lot of it's already been said by everybody who's spoken today, for sure. I think the biggest part for me initially was when I first was introduced to CP, the idea that they needed diverse leadership, not only from diverse people in terms of your ethnic background and makeup, but also the age dynamic as well. And I think when Daniel and I got the chance to go down to Texas with our team, why was that, beginning of 2020, right before everything flipped on us, we got a chance to go down with about 16 to 20 folks, all our senior, all with different experiences, all with a lot of wisdom and knowledge to share with both of us, and all of them knew how to have a good time as well. And I think that for me, the community building piece, the collaboration with Daniel and I, the ability to see the dynamic of CP grow in terms of the leadership that they were bringing on to their actual staff, and kind of how they just presented themselves in the community of Seattle and beyond really just went a long way for me. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do is continue to show young Black men in particular that this is important for them to be involved with. So when the world flipped on us and we didn't get to do all that we wanted to do in 2020, I knew that I wasn't gonna not want to come back and be a part of Common Power in the capacity that I am now, even if it is a little bit different. So I'm super excited to embark on what we have going on this year as well.
Wow, thank you so much, Channing. And again, we are so grateful for the work that you did and looking forward to keeping you engaged with Common Power and seeing everything that you do. So we are going to do a slight edit to our schedule because I want to make sure folks who have to leave right at the hour get to hear about the application process. So we'll do that and then jump into our breakout rooms here. So to quickly go over what this application process looks like. We are going to have a Google form application. I would budget about 20 minutes to complete it. And as it stands currently, that is the only step in this application process for folks who are interested in being team leads. Our priority deadline is going to be August 4th. What that means is we'll continue accepting applications on a rolling basis until all the positions are filled. But if you apply by August 4th, you will be on our timeline for the rest of August, which I'll cover in a moment here. Something I want to mention as well is that we are doing additional team lead information sessions the next 2 Mondays, also at 6 o'clock Pacific. Please share those dates with folks in your network who you think would be good fits for this opportunity. We will include the link to sign up for those sessions in our follow-up email, and it will also be on the website. If you are able to make it to our August 4th deadline, if you're able to fulfill that deadline, you will be notified by early to mid-August about your selection as a team lead. Our training for team leads will be on August 21st and 22nd. This is a weekend. If you can, please put a hold on that weekend right now to participate in the training. If you're unavailable, that is not a deal breaker, but we would like to see as many of our selected team leads participate in that training as possible. The other date I'll include here in our timeline is our Team Virginia travel to the state of Virginia in September. So it's going to be a priority for us to assemble Team Virginia and to also encourage all of you, whether or not you are on Team Virginia, to travel with us to work in person during this really important election in Virginia. So we will make sure to drop the application link in the chat. And again, we will have a follow-up email with all of the relevant links to these opportunities for you to share and to use as needed. So those are logistics for people who wanted them before they had to hop off here. But now we're going to double back and go into our breakout session, which again is going to be a huge opportunity, a really fun opportunity to get to know folks on a smaller scale, on a more intimate level. So I'm going to stop talking. We're going to go ahead and open up those breakout rooms for an icebreaker and some get to know you time. Anita, whenever you're ready.
Rooms should have just opened up.
Thank you.
Heba, and before I join MJ, how many minutes would you like me to put on these rooms?
Oh, that's a great question.
Or when would you like me to close it? Yeah.
Let's do 8 minutes.
8 minutes, great. I will set a timer and I'll make that happen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Let me make sure that Julian has an assignment. Let's see. Oh, he does. Great. Okay, good. I'm going to go join Maria.
Okay,
thanks.
Thank you.
Breakout rooms.
No, you are all good. Thank you.
Hi, Karen and Ayana. Welcome back. And please, as I said, feel free to DM me a question.
Okay, I'm sending it over right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Ayana. Appreciate it.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
So Heba, I was telling people as they left the room I was in that that the culture where you came from was to end meetings on time, and you have to whip Charles Douglas III into shape.
Yeah, I'm glad that you shared that context, because I realized after the fact that not everyone has that context, and I just seem like a stickler for time for no reason.
Well, I think it's good because some people do budget their time pretty carefully.
Sure.
I personally appreciate it, Heba, so I'm with you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you all had a great time in your breakout rooms, and thank you for folks who have been able to stick around past our hour mark. There's been a lot of really great content and conversations in this meeting, and I'm so thrilled that we've been able to experience that with each of you. As promised, we are going to send a follow-up email with all of the links, but I do want to take some time for Q&A if folks have questions that have went unanswered. I've been checking the chat, and I'll check once more for questions. So let me see what we have here. So first one that I see, can we apply for a particular lead role or state? So Karen, thanks for that question. I see Anita has answered it. So to say it out loud, you can rank your interest in roles 1 through 4, and then you can include in the comment section if there's a particular state that you would like. I will say that because we're composing these teams in a really intentional manner, I can't promise that your first pick or your priority state will be where you end up, but we are going to do our best to honor our model and your preferences through all of this. Let's see, a question from David. Can we talk more about the training in person and how much time? So great question, David. The trainings will be virtual. In terms of time, I don't expect that it will take the full 2 days, but I would plan for probably 8 hours in total of training. And we will have a variety of different sessions, including anti-racism trainings, team management trainings, communication, how to run volunteer events, all of that really core component to running a good team and being a good leader in this respect. And that is to say, also, there's a question on the application about additional trainings you think you might need or benefit from, and that will not be the end of the trainings for us. Let's see. So we have a question from Ayana. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name. What advice do you have for someone who is an intern familiarizing themselves with Action Academy and Common Power? How can I be better suited to become a state lead? Actually, I'm going to see if somebody else on the team wants to answer that, since you all have more experience with welcoming people into the organization. Anyone want to take it? I see Larcy unmuted.
Is Larcy? I was going to say, perfect.
I was trying. It was a little, Ayana, welcome. And I'm happy that you hopped on here. Stay the course. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're getting the knowledge that a lot of the work is needed in knowing that particular state. And now really it's just apply and find a state that you want to be working with. Finish out Action Academy, any additional training that Action Academy is offering, and or other events or workshops that we are offering all of our Action Academy grads in the future that you all can attend. There's never a limit to what you have access to. So just continue the course. You're on the right path. And I really, really encourage you to apply and really think about as your development in what you want to do, and also the schoolwork you're doing, like all of that will be able to work something out with you. But I just truly encourage you to just apply.
And Larcy, is Ayana in Action Academy? Is that what I'm getting from this?
Oh yeah, she's currently in the summer cohort. Yes.
Okay, so you all are going to talk about the like end of Action Academy and the ramp into CP state leads. So you'll hear more about that, Ayana. And there's special consideration for folks that are coming out of Action Academy, just so you know. So don't worry about it. You don't have to have all the information right now. We got you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ayana. I see a question from Nancy about the training in August. It will be recorded, so worst case, if somebody cannot make it, you'll have that resource, and we'll have we'll manage other ways to make sure that you are caught up in everything that you need before taking on a team leader role. Kylie, I think I saw your hand up if you have a question.
I was just going to add that I started as an intern with CP and then moved into the state team lead role. And so it's definitely doable. And I'm sure you have all of the capabilities already, but we are here to have your back.
Oh, love that. Big retweet. Amazing. Any other questions, either in the chat or you're welcome to unmute yourself if there are lingering questions. Okay. Well, I will continue to hang out if folks do want to stay on for additional conversation. Otherwise, thank you all for being here. Keep an eye out tomorrow morning for a follow-up email. So thrilled to see a lot of familiar and new faces. And thank you everyone for being active and engaged. See you soon.
Thank you, Heba.
Thanks, everyone.
Great job,
Thanks,
Heba.
Heba. Good night.
Great work,
Thanks,
Heba.
everybody.
Thank you.
Everyone.